I mean, this offense in the second half, they scored 3 points. They had a total of 87 yards in the second half. They were 1 for 8 on third downs. They never got into the red zone in the second half. They had 14 rushing yards, 73 passing yards. And some people are like, well, I mean, Geno got hurt. He brought in Drew. That screwed everything up. No, Geno was part of the first 4 possessions. The fourth one is where he got hurt. In those first 4 possessions of the second half, they go punt, field goal, punt, punt. It was 3 plays, and 4 plays on the 3 punts.
Yeah.
So the offense was broken before Geno got hurt. That certainly didn't help. I'm not saying that had no impact. But this offense was a no-show in the second half. So I have a hard time blaming the defense. I'm questioning what's happening because it's happened the last 2 weeks where they've just looked great for 3.5 quarters, and then it just feels like last couple drives for the Commanders last week, and now the Rams put up 10 at the end of the game. You're going, what's happening there? But even with that, not perfect, certainly things you can point to. Where is the offense? What is happening here? How do you explain 3 points and 87 yards in the entire second half?
Well, look, I mean, they have a really good defensive coordinator. They have our number. They know what to call, and I feel like, we don't adjust. I think that's my biggest problem with offense and the play calling, is that teams kind of figure it out, and then so they counter, and then you have to counter back, right? And that doesn't happen, and that's happened a number of times. So I'm not, as far as the play calling, it's much more of a mystery to me.
Do you think that's Pete or is that Shane?
Well, I don't think Pete is involved in calling the offense. I mean, I think he moves him one way or the other, like, hey, maybe a little bit more run heavy here, but to me, it's pretty much Shane, and and then there's just a lot of, like, when you put Drew Lock in there, why don't you help him? I mean, remember we talked about with Baltimore how Geno is getting rushed, he's being hurried, and he needs to get rid of the ball, and nobody is looking back for the ball.
Yeah,
give him a check down. Put the tight ends in there. Get something easy for Drew Lock. Made 2 ridiculous throws that he shouldn't have had. He shouldn't have made. Number one was, I think they were both to JSN, I believe.
Well, the seam route down the middle, I couldn't. Whose fault was that? Because he turns his head and catches it. It's green grass in front of him, and it looked like the ball was right where it needed to be. If he had looked like, I guess you tend to blame the guy who just got thrown into the game.
Yeah. Maybe
Drew was off, but you got a rookie there. I don't know whose fault it was, but that was a golden opportunity that was blown between the two of them. I don't know whose fault that was.
Yeah. Well, and the worst part of that play is that Zach Charbonnet was posted up wide open, and he just didn't see him. And so that's why I say I think Drew should have come in to the game. Like, I'm not going to try to throw, like a deep sail route or something like that to JSN right off the get-go. Let's check it down. And he totally missed the check down. And Charbonnet, it was on a 3rd and 10. He was pretty much wide open now. I know a lot of people will look at go, oh, yeah, that's an easy. I mean, I'm sure that the defensive back would have closed on him and maybe closed it down to 5 yards. But I feel like he could have put a move on him, and it would have been a nice, easy pass for him. And I feel like that's what you kind of have to do. So to me, that's where, like, the offense really, the calls need to benefit the quarterback a little bit more, especially when you're putting your backup quarterback in there.
Yeah. One more from Pete, just elaborating on the disappointment, because in his opinion, I think he's right, so much of it is self-inflicted.
I'm really disappointed because it feels like we did that to ourselves, and we talk so much about that, and we're trying to make sure that that's not part of our game, and shoot, it was the biggest part of the game, I thought. Nice job by them to finish it. They did a good job to do what they needed to do with the clock and all that, but they gave us a chance, and Geno was able to pop back out there to a couple great balls to give us a shot, and we just didn't hit our field goal to win the game. That's kind of what the NFL is.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody texted in, well, Myers has to hit that field goal. It's a 55-yard field goal. Let's not act like it's a little chippy. I mean, this guy was, special teams player of the week last week, connected on all 5, hit a 54 and a 52 in this game. I mean, for it to come down to that, the plays that led up to that hurt it more than anything. The way the clock was managed, not spiking the ball. I mean, we can go through all that, but yeah, the idea that somehow it's on Myers, he's got to hit the 55-yarder. Come on, man. Come on.